new advancements in hair loss? How are they making a difference in treatment options? Today, we're so fortunate. We are actually joined by Dr. Muala, who is a distinguished expert in the field of hair restoration. Dr. Muala also has successfully treated patients dealing with many various aspects of hair loss, including those affected by weight loss, hormone, and hormone deficiencies, or too many hormones, right? As we all know, we've talked about it many times in our episodes about over testosterone. Also, differing forms of emotional aspects of hair loss. How does that really affect, right, you and your loved ones? And so we're fortunate to have Dr. Muala jump into these questions and help us understand a little bit about the emotional aspect of how that hair loss really affects men and women and those in and out and around our lives. Dr. Muala, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate having you on Hair Loss, Restore Your Roots and Confidence. And we know that you're going to give us tons of tips. So we're excited to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor. Love your podcast and this way to connect with the listeners and the patients. And it's an exciting time to be in the world of wellness medicine and hair restoration because we really truly have many tools at our disposal. And one of the main things that made me interested in this field is people underplay hair restoration or hair loss as more a cosmetic issue. And I didn't fathom the depth of the effect that it has on a person's presentation. After all, we see ourselves in the mirror every day of our lives, and we see the changes creep up on us as we get older. And there's a reminder of that when we start losing hair. For women, it's an emotional issue because our society tags that with our femininity. With men, it's a reminder of things are changing. And there's that young person inside that refuses at times what they're seeing. And the great thing is there are many ways to combat that. It's not a stigma. Some people are fine with their hairline. Those people, are comfortable with their appearance. And that's the whole point of this whole field is for you to be comfortable with who you are, not what someone tells you you ought to be.
That's right. Oh, and so well said. And I think you've touched on really the whole overview of our show today is that the differences between what you expressed with men feeling as they are getting older, aging, and then starting to see a little bit more of a recessed hairline, a little bit more temple, a little bit more forehead, or noticing every time they look in the back, right, they see this lovely shiny area in the crown. Very different, though, from that emotional female spin on beauty, femininity, sexuality, and all of those things that go along with it. So talk to us a little bit about specifically those differences. So you touched on those, but let's dive into why is the emotional driver for women so different when it comes to as they start to see either male pattern thinning, female pattern thinning, diffuse thinning, alopecia areata? What happens in that emotional state?
Well, I think that women, throughout history as humans, they bear a lot of the hardships of just life and procreation and raising kids. And they have a biological clock in the background, and hormones fluctuate monthly. And then they're on a downtrend throughout the lifespan. So I think in the background, as all this is happening, and it's well documented how, the emotional impact hormone fluctuations have on the person. Add on that financial, emotional, personal, struggles and obstacles and hardships. And then when you get something simple like thinning hair, it has a whole different meaning to that person because they're looking at it from their perspective of different moving parts and different planets and different orbits that they have to find themselves in. So for a woman, as we, age, okay, then first of all, we don't want to be reminded that we're aging. And second of all, when we have, things like thinning hair or hair loss, or it's not as thick as it was before, then many of us attribute that to just like, okay, I'm older. We start having questions of self-worth, self-image. And many of these things are addressed by medically looking at what's going on. And many of the things are treatable. And just like any other condition, it can be, dealt with. And not, of course, part of it is, like the time clock, but the time clock can be a little halted and sometimes reversed. And so they shouldn't view it as a point of no return, or the ultimate, end or doom, or get depressed about it. They should embrace it as an opportunity for a reminder that this is the time when I need to make sure my health is optimized, my life is optimized, I'm happy, and they can be the great person they know they are, and not judge themselves based on something external that can be addressed.
You know, this is funny. This is the first time that this has just kind of jumped out at me, but you made the comment about, women going through raising children, their emotional and hormonal time clocks change. The interesting thing is that, when typically women are focused on raising their children and they're focused on however many they have, or even if they don't have children, right? They're in a stage of that, their focus on life is different. When they hit this plateau, or this aging time clock, and boy, oh boy, it ranges, right? Anywhere from, late 30s, early mid 40s, all the way through mid to late 60s, is that the focus of your life typically has now changed, right? It's not about how are you getting children, or how, to and from. If you're going back to school for an advanced degree, you have to be in front of people and you're always focused on someone else. All of that kind of slows down and stops, right? At this stage. And then, so now this focus, and I'm sure you hear it with all of your patients, is our female clients come in and go, why has this become such a monumental issue for me? Why am I so focused on my hair getting a little thinner? And it's because all the rest of the focuses are gone now. So it turns right back to them. And then we are so critical and internalize so much with what we're doing. And so, I love that explanation, because I really do think and hope that it helps listeners to realize, let's think about getting this in perspective.
Right.
It's monumental, right? When a female loses their hair, and whether it's acute, chronic, whatever stage we're seeing, certainly it's important. But there's so many other aspects that go into that.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if women are expected to be so tough, resilient. They tolerate so much more than, like, if the world depended on men for having, babies and struggling and raising the next generation, I think it would have ended a long time ago. But they're expected to be so tough and resilient, and they sacrifice a lot on their own personal front, and then a common thing like hair reminds them of, hey, maybe I'm not invincible. Maybe I need to think of me. And when they do that, it's usually at a time when they think it's too late, that the train has passed and now it's all going to be grim. And this is the point where I like to remind them, no, this is the time of your life to begin to start to enjoy. This is normal. This is reversible. It can be halted. It can be dealt with, and the beauty of you is inside you, and what's outside will help you appreciate that, like hair, skin, etc. But you have to be proud of you and realize this is a normal part of life.
Yes, yes. All of my women that are listening are applauding you, and we thank you so much for understanding women and being so kind to us. So we love that. So now, okay, so we've talked about the women or the females. Now, what is the emotional repercussion and aspect on a man?
I think men come at it from a different angle. First of all, they want, no matter what stage of life they're in, single, dating, married, executives at work, don't want to hear comments. They're more, I think it doesn't disturb the core psyche as much. It's more the same guy thing of like, I want to be the sought after hunter, want person. Like even if they're married, they want to be the good looking guy without, a bald spot, without thinning hair. Of course, as humans, men also are reminded of their biological clock that we're not getting younger, we're getting older. But it's not so much that as more, I don't want to call it vanity, but with women, you feel like it's an emotional, mental state of wanting to be at one with their femininity and their self-image. With men, it's more of like, I want to be the dad bod, the guy that defied everything, and I can go on forever until 150, and I'm still going to be the guy with the full hair, the guy that it's not, I don't want to call it vanity, but it's more maybe 50-50. Like they don't really are not worried about the balding in terms of like affecting their own self-image. They just want to look the best that they can look. So they're willing to go further. They're willing to get like transplants. They're willing to try different things. They're willing to try, injections. They're willing to do that. But, for women, it's like more an emotional journey rather than just like, let's do a procedure. It's different mental states in terms of how they perceive it. At the end, it's the same thing. It's all about self-image, but what that self-image means to the internal voice in our head is different in men and women.
Yes, yes, most definitely. Well, and I always, we say in our clinic is that yes, the women's journey on this hair loss road is very long, very tedious, and very it's very emotional, right? And and we have to have a very caring sense and very supportive feeling. However, our male clients just want to know what they need to do. They want to know how soon they can start and how quickly that the hair is going to come back, right? So it's very cut and dry. It's very straightforward, and we love the diversity in our clinic, and I'm sure you do as well, because it really keeps us as providers focused on, boy, everyone comes at this hair loss topic very differently, and we have to be
Exactly,
so
exactly. And I learned when I first moved to Phoenix, I worked at the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and was part of the thing they did there was there was like a hair studio and things like that, and it was very inspiring to watch the different reactions patients had when they had hair loss. Of course, that's a different, beast, and it's sad on so many levels. But uh, guys, when they lost their hair, they were more like, yeah, that's what this is what needs to happen, and this is what we expected. For women, the change in their smile that happens instantly when they fitted them with wigs or, made them feel so much better was very, very eye-opening to me at how stark the differences are between the two. I mean, this is unrelated to, normal hair loss, but it underscores the importance of how we view it.
beautifully said. Thank you so much, Dr. Muala. And we will be adding information about how to reach you and your clinic, also your website as well on our show notes. So everyone stay tuned. And again, as always, when you're listening to Hair Loss, Restore Your Roots and Confidence, we want you to have an amazing hair day. So until next time, take care. Bye-bye.